The floorboards creaked under my weight, each groan a protest against my intrusion. I remember the odd sense of finality as I stepped across the threshold, into a room that seemed to have been waiting for me. It was a study, lined with books from floor to ceiling, their spines faded and cracked with age. Dust motes danced in the single beam of light that cut through the gloom from a high, grimy window. The air was thick, heavy with the smell of old paper, leather, and something else. Something metallic and faint, like old blood. I'd found the entrance behind a tapestry in the main hall of the old Blackwood Manor, a place locals whispered was haunted. Of course, I didn't believe in ghosts. I was an urban explorer, a debunker of myths. The hidden door was just a delightful secret, a prize for my curiosity. It had swung inward with a surprising lack of resistance. Now, inside, I ran a hand along a dusty shelf, admiring the collection. A complete set of Poe, first editions by the look of them. This was a treasure trove. After a few minutes of just soaking it all in, I decided to start filming. I pulled out my phone, ready to document the find. That's when I turned back to get a wide shot of the room, including the entrance I'd just come through. My heart didn't just drop, it plummeted. The wall was solid. There was no door, no tapestry, just a seamless expanse of dark, water-stained wallpaper, patterned with drooping willows. My first thought was that I was disoriented. I must have turned around, gotten confused. I walked over to the wall where the door should have been, my footsteps now echoing with a frantic energy. My fingers traced the wallpaper, searching for a seam, a handle, a hidden latch. Nothing. I knocked, the sound a dull thud that was swallowed by the silence. Louder. I pounded my fist against the wall, a desperate, hollow rhythm. It was solid stone behind the paper, unyielding. Panic, cold and sharp, began to prickle at the back of my neck. Okay, calm down, I whispered to myself, the words feeling alien in the oppressive quiet. There has to be another way out. My eyes darted around the room. The window. It was at least 20 feet up, with no ladder in sight and barred on the outside. The books. Maybe one of them was a switch, like in the movies. It felt absurd, but what other option did I have? I started pulling books from the shelves, first methodically, then with increasing desperation. Shakespeare, Dickens, 100 forgotten poets. They tumbled to the floor, creating a chaotic pile of paper and dust. I pulled, I pushed, I twisted every spine I could reach. The only result was more dust, which made me cough and my eyes water. The silence in the room was a living thing now, pressing in on me. It felt like it was listening, waiting. Hours must have passed. The single beam of light from the window shifted, grew longer, then began to fade into a dim, gray twilight. My phone battery was dying. I had to conserve it. The initial adrenaline rush had worn off, replaced by a bone-deep exhaustion and a gnawing dread. I slumped down into a worn leather armchair, its springs groaning in sympathy. My breathing was ragged. I was trapped, utterly and completely trapped. As darkness consumed the room, my mind started playing tricks on me. I saw movement in the periphery, fleeting shadows that danced just beyond my focus. I heard whispers, faint and sibilant, like the turning of 1,000 dry pages at once. Was it the wind? There was no wind. Was it the house settling? It felt more personal than that. It felt like the room was talking, and I was beginning to understand its language of isolation. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a pressure plate system. I stomped on different floorboards, pushed against every conceivable inch of the walls, even tried to pry the fireplace grate loose. Nothing worked. The room was a perfect self-contained puzzle box, and I was the prize locked inside. My bravado from earlier, my skepticism, it all felt like a joke told by a naive child. The whispers grew a little clearer. They weren't threatening, not exactly. They were just observant. They spoke of time, of patience, of waiting. I spent what I think was the first night huddled in that chair, my phone off to save the last sliver of power. Sleep was impossible. Every creak of the house was a footstep. Every shadow was a figure. The scent of old blood seemed stronger now, and I found myself staring at a dark stain on the rug near the desk, a stain I hadn't noticed in the light. My imagination filled in the horrific details. Who else had found this room? Who else had turned back to find the door gone? The next morning, the gray light returned, revealing the chaos I had created. Books were strewn everywhere, a testament to my frantic search. I felt a profound sense of despair. I had no food, no water. How long could I last? I turned my phone on for a moment. No signal, of course. I recorded a short, desperate video, my voice cracking. I'm in Blackwood Manor. I'm trapped in a hidden room. The door is gone. If anyone finds this... I couldn't finish. It felt too final. Driven by a thirst I could no longer ignore, I began a more systematic search. Not for an exit, but for anything. Behind a row of crumbling encyclopedias, my fingers brushed against something cold and metal. A small, locked box. It was heavy, ornate, and had no visible keyhole. But as I turned it over, I saw faint scratches on the bottom. It wasn't a message, it was a tally. Dozens and dozens of tiny vertical lines scratched into the metal, grouped in sets of 5. The last group had only 3. A chill that had nothing to do with the cold of the room washed over me. This wasn't a tomb, it was a cage. And I wasn't the first occupant. The whispers seemed to agree, swirling around me with a sense of ancient history. They weren't ghosts of the dead, I realized. They were the echoes of the trapped, the echoes of minds that had slowly unraveled in this very room, counting the days until the end. I looked at the tally marks again. Who was number 4? Were they next? Was I? The realization was crushing. The exit wasn't hidden, it simply didn't exist for those who entered. This room wasn't part of the house. It was a parasite attached to it, feeding on the curiosity of people like me. It let you in, and then it sealed the memory of the entrance behind you. I don't know how many days have passed now. I found a small, sharp letter opener on the desk. At first, I thought about using it to pry the box open, or the floorboards. But now, as I sit here in the fading light, my throat raw with thirst, I find myself looking at the smooth, unmarked space next to those tally marks on the box. The whispers are getting louder, more insistent. They're not just observing anymore. They're inviting me to join the count, to leave my mark, to become another echo in the silence of the room with no door. Thank you so much for coming along on this chilling journey with me. It is stories like these that really make you wonder what secrets are hidden right under our noses. If you enjoyed this tale, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more explorations into the unknown. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.